Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subharamai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Stotra Kashi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashtotra Kashi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrind Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Ki Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol All glory to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glory to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glory to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Hare Krishna. To all of you watching on Mayapur TV and other channels, my obeisances to all of you. We'll be reciting from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, verse number 18. I don't think y'all can see the verse on the board, but you can read it from your text. Before we chant, we recite the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Chapter 2 Canto 2, Chapter 3, Pure Devotional Service, verse number 18. Tarva kim na jivanti Bhastra kim na svashanti uta Na kadanti na mehanti Kim grame pashavo pare Tarva kim na jivanti Bhastra kim na svasanti uta Na kadanti na mehanti Kim grame pashavo pare Tarva kim na jivanti Bhastra kim na svasanti uta Na kadanti na mehanti Kim grame pashavo pare Tarva kim na jivanti Bhastra kim na shvashanti uta Na kadanti na mehanti Kim grame pashavo pare Word for word translation. Tarva, the trees. Kim, weather. Na, do not. Jivanti, live. Bhastra, bellows. Kim, whither. Na, do not. Swashanti, breathe. Uta, also. Na, do not. Khadanti, eat. Na, do not. Mehanti, discharge semen. Kim, whether. Grame, in the locality. Pashava, beastly living being. Apare, others. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: do the trees not live? Do the bellows of the blacksmith not breathe? All around us, do the beasts not eat and discharge semen? Purport, Srila Prabhupada. The materialistic man of the modern age will argue that life or part of it is never meant for discussion of theosophical or theological arguments. Life is meant for the maximum duration of existence for eating, drinking, sexual intercourse, making merry and enjoying life. The modern man wants to live forever by the advancement of material science. And there are many foolish theories for prolonging life to the maximum duration. But the Srimad Bhagavatam affirms that life is not meant for so-called economic development or advancement of materialistic science, for the hedonistic philosophy of eating, mating, drinking, and merry-making. Life is solely meant for tapasya, for purifying existence, so that one may enter into eternal life just after the end of the human form of life. The materialists want to prolong life as much as possible because they have no information of the next life. They want to get the maximum comforts in this present life because they think conclusively that there is no life after death. This ignorance about the eternity of the living being and the change of covering in the material world has played havoc in the structure of modern human society. Consequently, there are many problems multiplied by various plans of modernized men. The plans for solving the problems of society have only aggravated the troubles. Even if it is possible to prolong life more than 100 years, advancement of human civilization does not necessarily follow. The Bhagavatam says that certain trees live for hundreds and thousands of years. At Vrindavan, there is a tamarind tree. The place is known as Imlital, which is said to have existed since the time of Lord Krishna. In the Calcutta Botanical Garden, there is a banyan tree said to be older than 500 years, and there are many such trees all over the world. Swami Sankaracharya lived only 32 years. And Lord Chaitanya lived 48 years. Does it mean that the prolonged lives of the above mentioned trees are more important than Shankara or Chaitanya? Prolonged life without spiritual value is not very important. One may doubt that trees have life because they do not breathe. But modern scientists like Bose have already proved that there is life in plants. So breathing is no sign of actual life. The Bhagavatam says that the bellows of the blacksmith breathes very soundly, but that does not mean that the bellows has life. The materialist will argue that life in the tree and life in the man cannot be compared because the tree cannot enjoy life by eating palatable dishes or by enjoying sexual intercourse. In reply to this, the Bhagavatam asks whether other animals like the dogs and hogs living in the same village with human beings do not eat and enjoy sexual life? The specific utterance of Srimad Bhagavatam in regard to other animals means that persons who are simply engaged in planning a better type of animal life consisting of eating, breathing, and mating are also animals in the shape of human beings. A society of such polished animals cannot benefit suffering humanity, for an animal can easily harm another animal, but rarely do good. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatirubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Today's verse, I'll repeat the translation again. Do the trees not live? Do the bellows of the blacksmith not breathe? All around us do the beasts not eat and discharge semen? So this chapter follows a certain theme, and in the early parts of the chapter, the importance of pure devotional service is stressed, and now it takes a turn where those that are not inclined to executing devotional service, which is a constitutional position of each living entity, what is awaiting them, and how they are to be condemned for making such poor choices to follow a life of just eat, sleep, drink, be merry, and not worry about the rest. So, as we go through this purport, I'm sure most of us will actually see or will be able to contemplate on or equate what's being said in this purport to what's happening around us as we are living amongst this pandemic. And one may, obviously, these are very, you can say in one sense, unfortunate times for the people and for all of us, even as devotees who are actually a part of the system in the sense of working and forming our duties, and these are difficult times for all of us. But as we read Prabhupada's purports and Prabhupada's books, the importance of spiritual life is being discussed everywhere. And one may think, why does one not want to take up or be receptive to the message of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and in Bhagavatam? So Arjuna had the same question, that why is it when Krishna explains to him in the second chapter that you are a soul, you are spiritual in nature, you are indestructible, you actually are pure, each living entity is pure in its consciousness, but when we come in contact with material nature, we actually exhibit certain symptoms which are unlike our constitutional position. So Arjuna has this question. He asks Krishna, and I'll read that section. Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 verse 36. Arjuna uvacha atakena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha ani chehanapi varshneya baladiva niyojita. Arjuna said, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? So, as Krishna describes earlier in the second chapter and beginning of the third chapter, that a living being is spiritual by nature. But he or she acts as though they're being compelled by something. There's a force beyond them that is compelling them to do certain acts which are not befitting their constitutional position, to which Krishna responds. This is one of the most famous verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Shri Bhagavan uvacha kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samudbhava mahashano mahapapa vidiyenam iha varinam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So Krishna gives us the answer. It is lust. Lust only, Arjuna. That is the cause of all suffering, or that which impels us to do certain things which are not meant to be done. So recently, the president of one country was actually addressing a conference and addressing reporters on a conference, and he was saying that we are facing an invisible enemy, and we have to do our best to curb this invisible enemy and take precautions to defend ourselves. So that's quite different to what we are being, or we've been told of our enemy. A lot of times we see countries that go to war. There is a country, there is allies, and and the allies join hands and then they fight against the enemy. That's how it had happened in the previous, first two world wars. I wouldn't get into those details, but the point is that there's an enemy. The enemy has certain weapons, and then the allies come together, or the enemy also has its allies, and then there is a battle of exchange of different forms of warfare, and in the end, the side that manages to scrape through by the use of superior weapons or superior technology has won. But here, in the situation we are in today, we are actually faced by an invisible enemy, and no one knows how to deal with this situation we are at. But Krishna explains it in the Bhagavad Gita. It is lust only, Arjuna. So we should analyze what Krishna is saying here by applying it to what's being, what's happening around us in this world. And what is lust? A definition of lust or an explanation of lust is our human propensity to exploit without any sense of accountability. We as humans are at this threshold where we're exploiting nature, we're exploiting different species whom we don't consider as their right to live on this planet, and as a result there are certain reactions that have come about us. Now obviously there are different theories that are being said, but the principle is lust. It's lust only, Arjuna. That is the enemy of our conditioned existence. In the purport, Prabhupada speaks about how this whole hedonistic philosophy of eating, meeting, drinking, and merrymaking, and how it is said that our whole civilization is just centered for our sense gratification. And the grossest form of sense gratification that is known to us is actually sex life. Unrestricted sex life is what, if you really boil down each form of sense gratification that's around us, what is that actually boiled down to? And yesterday, and to my great fortune and to all of our great fortune, obviously Srila Prabhupada has given us these books and have given us instructions on what to do. But when I was researching, when I was preparing for this morning's Bhagavatam class, I came across a lecture by Prabhupada on this very same verse, so I couldn't resist hearing it. And in that, Prabhupada spoke very strongly, and he said, people today are so engrossed in sex life, and this was obviously 40 years ago, it's 1972 is when Prabhupada gave this talk. And he said, just see how people are bringing upon their own downfall. And he said, people are so looking forward to discharging semen. What is semen? Semen is actually your own blood. Our own blood. We are happily sacrificing our own, we are giving away our own blood just for pleasure. And he said, if someone were to come to us and say, sir, madam, sir, can you give us a few ounces of blood? And this will give us, for whatever purpose they may need that blood. We would resist. We would say, no, we can't give you our blood. But at the same time, we're happily giving away our blood in the form of semen, not knowing that this is decreasing our lifespan. And if you go through this purport, actually there's one section here at the very top. It says, life is solely meant for tapasya, for purifying existence so that one may enter into eternal life just after the end of the human form of life. Now, this is something, if you go out and tell people that life is meant for tapasya, life is meant for some austerity, people will say, why? That'll be the first question. Why should I sacrifice? Why should I undergo any austerity? Why? And the answer is just to establish a relationship with Krishna. That's our goal, and for that we have to undergo some austerity. People in general don't like austerity. Sometimes, a few years ago, especially in Europe, there was this period where the economy was crumbling, and they used this word austerity, and it wasn't welcomed at all by people in general, because people want to, or we as conditioned beings want unrestricted access to things that we want, that'll make us happy. And that's why we see in this environment we're in today, where there are certain restrictions placed upon us, life just doesn't seem normal. We would like to eat whatever we want to eat. So when we tell people, just as devotees, we just honor Krishna Prasad, to some people outside that just is so baffling, that you mean you're just going to have some prasad which you offer to Krishna and eat, but I want to eat everything. And we see that people usually exercise no discrimination when they want to eat what they want to eat. There's a pastime of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. When Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was, I believe, on a preaching mission, he had gone to Burma. I can't remember the country which he was in, but it was one of the Far East countries, or maybe it was, wherever it was, I believe it's Burma, but more detail is given in Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhava, a book written by His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. So in that book, or in this pastime, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is traveling, and he's staying at a place, and his servant is cooking, and he's cooking with ghee. And as the ghee is being melted, there's a certain fragrance or a certain smell that it exudes. So as he's doing it, all the neighbors come around the house and saying, "What is this smelling? It smells, it's so obnoxious. What are you making?" And the servant is just puzzled. Why is everyone responding in such a way? And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comes out and says, "What's happening?" And he said, "These people are just saying that we are cooking some obnoxious thing, and it just smells. We can't stand the smell." And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is like, who in the world would actually say something about ghee? And then later on, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur finds out. He's like, "Okay, can you show me what you all eat? And maybe there's some difference in taste." And they say yes, and then they show Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that what they eat is basically, they take the bones of dogs, which is then fermented and mixed with some sort of a spice, and that's what they use to eat. Whatever they cook, they eat everything along with it. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in that book, or that pastime, describes it. They just couldn't stand that smell, and these people are literally just licking their fingers as they eat that preparation. And so you see what society we are living in today. That people, rather than eating foodstuffs that are in the mode of goodness, people are addicted to eating foodstuff in the mode of passion and ignorance. Well, more so ignorance. And in this purport, there's a mention of these trees. And Prabhupada making a bold declaration. Does it mean that the prolonged lives of the above mentioned trees are more important than Shankara or Chaitanya? Are their contribution is the contribution of the trees more than the contribution of what these Mahatmas have given us. Just yesterday I was hearing a class by the Honorable Radha Swami, and he said that in California they have these redwood trees, and it is said that these trees have existed for at least 7,000 years, if not more. And this goes beyond even the dating of Western civilization that's known to us. And people are paying so much to just go see these trees. Wow, something that's existed for 7,000 years. But he was saying, what's the use of, just imagine this jiva is locked up or is encaged in the body of this tree for 7,000 years, having to undergo such inconvenience of heat, cold, rain. People may spit on them, people may do whatever they want to do. Just imagine jiva is just encaged in this body of this tree for 7,000 years. What's the value of this life? Just being in that tree. And we all know people, where do trees come from? What do trees evolve from? They are basically people who like to stand around naked. Usually, if that's our desire, then okay, nature gives us a body of a tree because the tree is standing naked. So we take great pride in furthering our life so that we can live for as long as we can. But what's the use? In the earlier chapter, chapter 2, Maharaj Katwanga, we see the pastime of Maharaj Katwanga where he is given an option. He's given a choice, and he asks the demigods, how much more do I have to live? And they said, a moment. And he said, well, that moment of mine should be executed in pure Krishna consciousness or devotional service. So what's the use of a prolonged life if it doesn't entail chanting and hearing of Krishna? And we'll see in today's society, people are admired, or society admires those that live like animals. Good example is athletes. People will pay thousands of dollars or whatever it is just to go watch an athlete run. And what's so special? The athlete can run so fast. But a horse can run even faster. 10, 20 times, 100 times more faster than what a human can run. We like to see people who can jump so high. Again, kangaroos can jump even further, even higher. Why aren't you not willing to go see a kangaroo perform such feats? And people are very fond. I know a few friends of mine who went to watch, either wrestling or some sort of a fight, a UFC, or, fights between two people. Wow, it's so chivalrous. Just to see two people fight. They're willing to pay thousands of dollars, take flights to go to a different city. But a tiger and a lion, they can fight in ways that we can't even think of. So the underlying message is that we live in a society today, or Kali Yuga has come to a point where we really admire people who live like animals. And Bhagavatam condemns that sort of mentality. As humans, we are meant to live for a higher purpose. And that purpose is, again, to cultivate a spiritual life. That doesn't mean that we just totally neglect whatever material necessities we may have, but using everything to actually live a life for the pleasure of Sri Radha Gopinath and Srila Prabhupada. Now, amidst this pandemic or this crisis that we are in, we see that people react to it in various ways. And again, I like to point to the Bhagavad Gita. There's a verse here that gives us, that sheds some light on how we should deal with the situation. And this is Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, verse 11. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmani avashtitam yatanto piya kritatmano nainam pashyanti acetashaha. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, although they may try. So, quite often, what we see around us depends on what we want to see. We see this world through our desires, and that reflects our state of consciousness. For example, an alcoholic may visit a city that he or she has never been to. And even though that city may have so many interesting places of sightseeing, but that alcoholic is only keen on knowing bars and pubs that may be there in the city. He or she is only keen on exploring those areas. Similarly, in this crisis, you see different people are reacting in different ways. Some are eagerly seeing what restrictions are going to be lifted. Some are seeing, business, people that have an interest in starting new businesses are actually seeing, okay, what opportunities are there for me to explore the different business models that may be there. And also, all of them have their state of awareness that's bringing them to that position. But as devotees, what's our dharma? How do we see this situation? Again, we know that we have the shelter of Sri Radha Gopinath and Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnavas, and we make this moment, or make every moment, we try to convert every moment into the most Krishna conscious moment we can. And it's a 3-step process. I was reading an article by His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu yesterday, and he said that because we are conditioned by material energy, we just can't take that leap from being where we are to being situated in pure spiritual consciousness. We can't shun everything, but we take steps, we take gradual steps towards what we can do. And there are 3 aspects to it. Knowledge. We equip ourselves with knowledge that's given to us in the form of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And that knowledge is saying who we are, what's our relationship with Krishna, and how do we execute our activities in pursuance of that relationship, and how Krishna is actually all-pervading, omniscient. Krishna knows the past, present, and future, and Krishna brings the devotees through all calamities, provided that they take shelter of him. Association. Believe me or not, but this current situation we are in is actually providing us with a lot of association of devotees that we wouldn't have otherwise been able to avail. Practically, one devotee, I was hearing a class, I think by His Grace Amarendra Prabhu over the weekend, and he said that he had one devotee come to him, Prabhu, there is no time. We literally are jumping from one Zoom session to the other. Yesterday I came across this meme, or someone posted this on social media, that Zoom sent out a letter to Hare Krishnas. You Hare Krishnas, you all can't stay at your place of worship. Now you're also invading Zoom. Now we are maxing, we are reaching the maximum capacity of a Zoom session, so we are having to expand the limitation, the restriction of people from 100 to whatever it will be. So devotees find ways to share Krishna's message through different channels. So we have this great fortune of having the association of devotees through many different channels, and so this is a time for us to associate and to seek the nourishment that we all want. And by associating with these Mahatmas, with devotees, with Srimad Bhagavatam, with Chaitanya Charitamrita, we are getting purified. We're getting purified of the desire to be with the material energy and come out of material energy to be to have the sincere desire to be with Krishna. So that's how we see this opportunity as being Krishna's arrangement in some way or the other for us to deepen our Krishna consciousness. Now, I'd like to conclude with a pastime of a very famous disciple, a very loved disciple of Srila Prabhupada, His Grace Jayananda Prabhu, who was also known as, his name was Jayananda, but he was also known as Johnny Ananda, and some would call him Jolly Ananda. So Jayananda Prabhu, the reason why I make that I want to share his life is because in this purport, does it mean that the prolonged lives of the above mentioned trees are more important than Shankara Chaitanya? As we know, Shankaracharya lived for 32 years, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived for 48 years, and many great personalities that we know didn't live, even Christ did not live for that long. But the contribution they've made to human civilization is something that we can't be grateful for. We can't be, there's no limit, or there's no amount of gratitude that can be expressed to these personalities for what they've given us. So Jayananda Prabhu, as we know from his life, sacrificed, made a lot of sacrifices for Prabhupada's mission. Wherever he went, he is the one who built the Rath Yatra carts in the early days for the devotees for Rath Yatra processions. He would not sleep. He would just painstakingly undertake so many austerities just for helping Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was so grateful to him. And it is said that at a very young age, he was, I think, not even more than mid-30s, when he was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer or some tumor in his body. And he was given $5,000, or given a significant amount of money by his father for his treatment. And what he did was he gave that entire sum of money to Srila Prabhupada to print the first publication of Bhagavad Gita as it is. And he said, what's the use of just saving one life? If by this publication thousands of millions of lives could be saved, that is the perfection. And Prabhupada was so grateful to him. He said, just see, this is the mood of a Vaishnava. He wants to give just for the betterment of others. And later on, he was sent, he underwent some treatment at some hospital and some different places. And then it is mentioned that he went to one hospital and he was in so much pain. His body was giving him, was such an inconvenience for him that, but even in that condition, when he went to the hospital, he asked if he could speak on the Bhagavad Gita to different patients, and the hospital said yes. And he said, see, this is the best use of a bad bargain. This is the best use of my time to preach. And he was so grateful to the authorities there that allowed him to preach, and devotees that would go to see him, that he would be so ecstatic. He said, this is the best arrangement that Krishna has given me, just to speak the Bhagavad Gita and to give me people who are so receptive to hear the Bhagavad Gita. And it is said over a period of time, over 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that he did it, and then eventually the hospital told him that he can't continue doing this, and then he said, take me out of this hospital. What's the use of being here if I can't preach? What's the use of my life if I can't preach? So that is our mission. We try to somehow or the other utilize every opportunity we have to preach, utilize every opportunity we have to cultivate our own hearing and chanting, and to associate with devotees, to help each other grow in their Krishna consciousness. And that's the summit of our existence. If we don't, then our life is merely existence. What's the use of living for 100 years? Just yesterday, 2 days ago, I came across this news article where a Holocaust survivor, went through so many harsh experiences, harsh phases that in the past 100 years, and people lauded him for being there with them and giving them a taste of what it felt like. It's always good to hear from an experienced person. But in the end, he died, and because of social distancing, no one could even attend his funeral. So what's the use? What's the purpose behind living such a life where in the end you just reduce to mere ashes and you'll be forgotten in a few years' time? So Srimad Bhagavatam points us to this direction, that we should rather focus or prioritize our life to eternity, and somehow or the other make ourselves aware of this benediction that's being given to us by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, the previous Acharyas, and the Vaishnavas. So I think I've gone over time. I would like to end here and hope and pray for all of us during this troubled times, and that we are able to take shelter of Shri Radha Gopinath, Srila Prabhupada, and the Vaishnavas, and be able to share this good fortune with others. Thanks again to everyone to hearing this on Mayapur TV. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.